We've done a lot of looking over our shoulders at OpenAI. Who will cross the next milestone? What will the next move be? But the uncomfortable truth is, we aren't positioned to win this arms race, and neither is OpenAI. While we've been squabbling, a third faction has been quietly eating our lunch. According to this leaked Google document, the emerging third faction threat comes from open source models, a significant concern for Google and OpenAI. The author starkly notes that Google or OpenAI do not have a secret sauce that makes their AI models better. But didn't we say that Sam Altman and other big tech execs believe there will be very few organizations globally with the resources and skills to build LLMs? Isn't there going to be one model to rule them all? Well, let's see. One of the eternal battles in the software development world is the one between open and closed source development. Today, this clash will play a significant role in the AI industry's evolution. It's true that few organizations have the resources to build and develop their proprietary LLMs. But this doesn't mean that the rest cannot construct versions based on open source AI. While everyone is focused on the battle between big tech firms developing proprietary closed-source foundation models like GPT and Gemini, open-source AI's rapid growth needs to be noticed and happens behind the scenes. Open-source software is developed by a community of skilled and motivated individuals who can build on each other's work and provide public access. Such a collaborative environment accelerates innovation, fostered by open-source software's main strength, the ability to rely on collective knowledge and creativity. The tribe is stronger than the individual, if you will. One of the critical factors that boosted the growth of open-source AI is that the users could reduce hardware requirements for AI development. Once that happened, innovation and model improvements snowballed. The leaked Google document reveals that the gap in terms of quality is closing astonishingly quickly. It also notes that some open-source models are pound for pound more capable than GPT and Gemini. The open-source community has successfully tackled running large language models on smartphones and developing scalable personal AI. Therefore, proprietary LLM developers understandably sense a threat because they've invested heavily in AI models aiming for significant returns. Yet, the open-source community is rapidly gaining ground. Closed-end solutions are generally easier to implement, offering plug-and-play convenience with minimal configuration. Using an open-source AI model means you avoid Google or OpenAI fees, but you still incur compute costs. Additionally, it's unclear and subjective whether the costs of customizing and fine-tuning an open-source AI will exceed the total expenses OpenAI charges. Besides easy integration, closed-source AI offers optimized user experience, customer support, solid APIs, and ethics and legal compliance. You can imagine how important this is to large enterprises. Another critical benefit of closed source is that your business data should have a lower chance of leaking to the public, which is of paramount importance. The 2023 leak of Meta's Llama AI model, which may not have been entirely accidental, turned out to be beneficial. Once released, the open-source community began to build infrastructure on top of Llama, inadvertently boosting Meta's AI offerings. In a way, we can say that one of the big tech firms embraced the open-source approach and combined massive resources and initial investments necessary to build an LLM with the power of community development. We don't know which school of thought will prevail. And to say that closed-source or open-source models will win over time would indicate a limited understanding of the topic. There will likely be wildly successful closed and open-source AI projects in the future. I think open source models will be advantageous for narrow use cases requiring a specialized AI. Such domain-specific problems will be solved brilliantly by fine-tuning a base model. In these cases, using a broader model like GPT to solve a niche problem would be much more expensive. Moreover, fine-tuning a closed-source model can be expensive because some companies charge significantly. Closed-source models would probably stay more expensive overall. Still, due to the vast datasets they're trained with, they will also be more powerful when faced with complex tasks that require generalized understanding and skills. A crucial advantage of big tech firms is that they have the resources to acquire proprietary data, which allows them to build even more robust foundation models and, therefore, widen the difference in performance quality. While we're on the topic of open source tools, our next lesson will be about Hugging Face, often regarded as the GitHub of machine learning and AI.